The call came while I was standing in the kitchen, watching the sink fill with water I hadn't turned off. Her name lit the screen. I didn't answer at first. I already knew something was wrong. I could feel it in the way my chest stayed too calm. Like my body had decided panic would be a waste. When I picked up, she didn't say hello. "I'm moving in with Ethan," she said. No apology, no build-up, just a fact. Like a weather report. The sink overflowed. Water spilled onto the floor. I watched it creep across the tile, slow and deliberate. "You don't need to reach out anymore," she added. "It's better this way." Better for who? I imagined her packing. Not clothes, decisions. Pre-rehearsed lines, justifications stacked neatly in her head. I imagined Ethan nearby, listening, smiling, thinking he'd won something. I said nothing. Silence makes people nervous. She filled it with breath. "I'll get my stuff later," she said. "Please don't make this harder." The line went dead. I stood there for a long time, long enough for the water to soak my socks, long enough to realize she hadn't sounded guilty. She'd sounded relieved. That night, I didn't drink. I didn't rage. I didn't text. I sat on the edge of the bed and replayed everything backward. The missed calls she blamed on meetings. The weekends she suddenly needed space. The way she stopped looking at me when she laughed. I had funded her life, without ever calling it that. Rent, groceries, emergencies. I told myself that's what love did. It covered gaps quietly. But love doesn't issue ultimatums. By morning, I felt empty in a precise way. Clean. Focused. I logged into the accounts. Saw her name under authorized users. I didn't remove it yet. I wanted to understand first. Ethan wasn't new. He'd been around the edges for months. A coworker. A friend. The kind of man who waits until the door is already open. I pulled phone records, not messages, just patterns, frequency, timing. They talked every night after I fell asleep. Always after. I visited places she said she'd been. Cafes that didn't recognize her. A yoga studio that had never seen her face. Still, I smiled in public. Answered emails. Paid bills. Control is quieter than anger. 3 days later, she texted me for the first time. "Hey, quick question." I stared at the screen, already knowing the question. "Money always reveals the truth faster than words," I replied with one sentence. "I figured you didn't need my support anymore." The typing bubbles appeared, disappeared, appeared again, then nothing. That's when I knew, and that's when I finally made my move. I waited until evening. That was important. Restaurants are louder at night. Witnesses blur into background noise. Embarrassment travels faster in dim light. I canceled the cards an hour before dinner. Not all of them, just the ones tied to me. The ones she used without thinking. I imagined her confidence as she handed it over. The practiced smile. Ethan beside her, trying to look generous without actually being generous. I didn't need to be there to see it. She called me instead, over and over. I let it ring while I pictured the moment the server came back. The pause. The polite confusion. The second attempt. Declined. I answered on the fourth call. "What did you do?" She whispered. "Not angry, panicked. I assumed you'd switched everything over." I said, calm. "You told me not to reach out." "You humiliated me," she hissed. "Ethan was right there." I smiled for the first time in days. "So he saw it," I said. Silence. Then her breath cracked. "Just a little. You didn't have to do this." I thought of all the times I hadn't had to do anything, but did. Anyway, paid, covered, believed. "I didn't," I said. I stopped. She started crying then. Real crying. The kind she used to save for me. Ethan, I imagined, staring into his drink, learning the weight of what he'd inherited. "Please," she said. "Can we talk?" "We are," I replied. I told her I knew about the calls, the late nights, the lies layered so carefully they'd started to feel like truth to her. She tried to interrupt. I kept going. "I wasn't blindsided," I said. "I was watching." That broke her. She said my name the way people do when they realize the ground is gone. "I loved you," she said. "No," I said. "You used me." I hung up before she could respond. Blocked the number. Closed the accounts. Removed her name from everything. Digital, financial, emotional. The next morning, I packed the things she left behind. I didn't throw them away. I donated them. Strangers would get more use out of them than I ever had. Ethan texted me once. A long message. Apologies disguised as explanations. I didn't read past the first line. Some truths don't need context. Weeks passed. The silence stayed clean, undisturbed. I didn't feel victorious. That would have meant she still mattered. What I felt was lighter, like I'd set down something heavy I'd been carrying for too long and finally noticed the absence. She thought leaving was power. She was wrong. Power was realizing I could stop loving her without raising my voice, and walking away without looking back.